Haven't even started yet and I'm already sweating. I think I'm a little nervous about today's video. I mean, look at this. Seriously, kids? Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I am excited about today's video. No, that is a lie. I am not actually excited about today's video. This is the video I have been dreading all month long because we are doing a My Kids Pick My Makeup video, which may as well be titled My Kids Try to Sabotage Me by Picking Makeup That They Know That I'll Be Uncomfortable Wearing. For those of you that don't know, I do have 4 kids. They are ages 16, 13, 9, and 2, almost 3. And of those 4 kids, the oldest 3 are boys. So you can probably imagine they did their very best to try and make this very difficult for me. But you would better believe that I'm going to do everything that I can to prove them wrong and make a somewhat wearable and pretty, albeit colorful, makeup look. But I hope that you guys are excited about it. I think this is going to be a fun challenge for me today. Quick little explanation how this video is going to go. So I divided each category of makeup and assigned it a number, and then I randomly had my kids pick a few of those numbers, and whichever number they picked, they had to pick out from my collection an item or 2 from that category. Before we get into actually applying the makeup, I'm going to insert some clips of the actual selection process so you guys can meet the little rascals and see who picked what. And then of course I will attempt to put it all together. But before we jump into the selection process and getting everything on my face, I want to welcome those of you that are newer to my channel. Hopefully you will consider subscribing if you have not yet done that. And with that said, let's have a look at what they picked out for me. All right, this is, what's your name?
Charlie.
Charlie. You get to pick one bronzer out of this whole thing. Which one do you like the very most? Lift it up to the camera so you can see it. Yay! That's a good one. You also get to pick out lip liner. Which one do you want?
That one.
Oh man, that's dark. Okay. Say bye everybody.
Hi everybody.
You did a good job. All right, Wes. Okay, do you remember what you picked? So this drawer right here is all my foundations.
They're all like the same color.
Want to do this one? Wet n Wild Cushion Foundation. All right. Okay, next up, concealer. This covers up like my little spots and stuff on my face, under my eyes, where I look all tired.
If only they made like red concealers.
I know, wouldn't that just be so great for you?
It would probably look the same.
This one? All right. Maybelline Age Rewind. So this drawer holds all of my blushes. That might be expired.
Oh, expired?
No.
Good. I might do the expired thing.
I think it's like dried up inside, so it's not liquid anymore.
Here, give me the cap.
Ew, it's like
Yes.
hard. It's supposed to be liquid. I don't know if I can use. Oh my gosh. Is this what you're picking?
Yep.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut when it comes to Ethan and the eyeshadow palettes. Okay, Ethan, you have the most coveted job. He picked number 4, which was eyeshadow palettes. You can dig through as much or as little as you want.
Do something either super colorful or super dark.
Oh, of course you are. I was hoping you wouldn't find that one.
Yes.
No!
Yes! Ethan, what'd you pick?
Can you pick me one more, please? That
And then
one
I'll
more.
choose
Yes.
between them.
No,
Oh,
and then I'll
yeah.
use both of them.
Use the blue.
I don't think I ever said specifically you were allowed to pick what color inside
Well, you
the
didn't
palette.
say I didn't have a choice.
So you said you can pick a color.
You said we
No,
pick.
I said you had to
No.
pick a palette.
No,
You just said we pick what you were.
Yeah,
No,
yes,
I
you
never
did.
said that.
Yeah, you did.
I don't
The
know.
video is gonna called "My Kids Pick My Makeup."
No, yeah, not my kids sabotage me and make me use the ugliest
Well, what
eyeshadow
did you
on the
think
planet.
we would do?
So it's obvious we would try to make you look weird. 'Cause
Obviously.
Bright pink
These
and dark
two,
blue.
seriously, they actually do go good together at least.
I can't wait to see you.
You realize I'm not going to make myself look like a clown. You know, I'm going to do everything I can to make me look decent, even though I'm using this. Good thing I'm not letting you guys put it on.
No.
Can you imagine?
You just gave me a good idea.
So you are on lipstick and lip gloss. You can look through them or you can randomly grab one, whatever you want to do.
How many do I grab?
It's up to you. You can pick just one, or if you want to pick 2, then I have to use them both.
These.
I'm just going to pick random. All right. Okay. Want to pick any more? Or just this one?
No, just that one.
Just this one? I can work with that. All right, these are the lip glosses, which go on top of the lipstick.
This.
Okay. Work Jacobs, you have good taste. It's probably my most expensive lip gloss.
It looked most expensive.
Yeah. No, yeah, we don't play in here, but it would be fun, huh?
Oh no, I want to play in here.
Maybe when you're older you can play in here.
Okay.
Okay?
There are lots of colors.
There are lots of colors in here. That is true. Alright guys, so we're going to jump in to the eyes first. I thought it would be wise to start with the eyes. Even though I don't typically do this, I also don't typically wear shadows that are quite this bright. So my 13-year-old Ethan got the coveted category. He picked eyeshadow palettes, and he did his brothers very proud because he picked the Party Animal palette from Laura Lee, Los Angeles, which I've never used, have never really intended to use this palette. Yeah, but we're going to attempt to create a look with that in combination with the Riviera palette. So the stipulation that they all put on me was that I had to use at least one of these shades, and it could not be this corner shade. So it had to be one of these brighter shades right here. So I'm thinking that we're going to do something kind of teal and blue toned. I'm going to use these two colors right here. And we're going to combine that with the Riviera palette. I'm thinking I'm going to just use some of the neutrals in here and also this kind of teal color right here. We're just going to run with it and see what we come up with. I did already put a little bit of eyeshadow primer. This was not in the selection process. I just added a little bit of this Profusion eyeshadow primer on my eyes. So I'm going to first start off by going into the Riviera palette and taking this shade right here. This is the shade Coastline, which is kind of just a very nude peach. Seriously? How long was that there? Goodness, Mandy. And I'm just going to start off by applying that right above my crease right here. So I thought it would be fun, kind of as payback for my kids, to talk a little bit about each of them during this video. So since we're on Ethan's category, let's go ahead and introduce you guys to my son Ethan. So Ethan is my 13-year-old. He just turned 13 just a couple of weeks ago, so he's officially a teenager. He's in the 7th grade, and I would say Ethan is by far my most laid-back child. He's very laid back. He's very creative. He has a very creative mind. He loves music and science and art, and of all my kids, he is the one that has had the most creative and varied interests. He has gone through so many phases of things that he's interested in. I'm just taking that shade on this Juvia's Place buffer brush and putting that on the lower lash line. So he's been into ventriloquy, into art. He's been into building models of things and hand puppets. So I just realized I don't really want to do my lower lash line yet. Getting ahead of myself. Now we're getting into the scary part. I better stop talking and concentrate on what I'm doing because this could end badly. I'm going to take this color in the middle here. This is kind of a matte bluish teal. It's color Damage Control, and I'm going to take that on my Real Techniques shading brush. Tap off the excess, and we're going to start applying this on the outer half of the lid. Okay, that's not too pigmented, I think. I have to say though, Ethan was the cutest little baby in the world. He had the biggest blue eyes and the cutest fuzzy towhead hair that would just stick straight up. I love taking him places, and the comments that I would get from some people, most of which were very sweet, but sometimes were kind of like, wow, that kid has the biggest eyes I've ever seen. It was pretty hilarious. So I'm trying to just kind of pat that on there. I don't want to tug on it too much. This is kind of a first for me. I'm not quite sure what you blend out colorful shadows like this with, but I guess we will figure it out as we go. Okay, so far that is looking kind of terrible, but I'm hoping that this will kind of pull together. So I think I want to go into this shade next. This is the color Sails right here. This is the white inside this palette, a matte white, and it is a fantastic matte white eyeshadow. I'm just going to start kind of packing that on the inner third of the eyelid, slightly overlapping that teal blue shade right there. Alright, so on top of that, I want to go into this color right here. This is the color Seychelles, which is kind of the shimmery teal shade in here. This is such a pretty shade. So we're going to pop that all over the center, kind of 2/3 of the lid, just to add a little bit of shine. And I really like that this matches so well the color underneath. I'm going to take that same Real Techniques brush, there's nothing else on this, and just with what's left kind of blend out that edge. Alright, and now I'm going to go into this Laura Lee palette. We're going to take this dark kind of bluish purple right here, and I think I'm going to take that also on the Real Techniques brush, just on the very tip of it. We're just going to use this as kind of almost like a liner. We're just going to smudge this into this outer corner a little bit. Gotta push myself a little bit. It's okay if we don't end up liking it. I'm not going anywhere today. So this blue and purple is not me. Okay, so I have an idea. I think I'm going to take that shimmery teal shade again, and I'm going to try and kind of cover up some of this purple with that teal, just so it's not quite as dramatic looking. And I'm going to take my Morphe M507 brush, which is clean. I'm just going to kind of blend this outer edge right here a little bit. I'm going to take a cotton bud and I'm going to clean this little edge up right here just a little bit before I go in with concealer. Because it is so dark, I don't want that concealer to pick up all that darkness there and then move it around my under eye area. Thought about maybe putting this color right here, which is the color Seaside, on the inner corner. Should we try it? Ooh. Let's go ahead and do it. Overlap that white and teal color right there a little bit with that. So I actually think that looks pretty good. It's definitely outside of my comfort zone. I would not be comfortable wearing this to the grocery store, but I think it looks really pretty. I don't know. I think I may have succeeded. So let's jump into foundation next. For my foundation pick, Wesley picked, as you saw, the Wet n Wild Cushion Foundation. So I'm going to apply this foundation just with a damp beauty sponge. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about Wesley. Wesley is our sweet little firecracker. He is definitely our kid that is the most energetic, enthusiastic, hot-headed, dare I say it, but we love him for it. He is a crack up. He's 9 years old. As you can probably imagine, his interests are very varied. He is into sports. He's way into playing the drums right now. He has great aspirations to become Imagine Dragons' next drummer. He's also into snowmobiling and trucks and cars. One of the cutest things to highlight his personality is when we are building our house that we live in right now. So we physically built this house, a lot of it ourselves. We framed it ourselves. And my husband spent a full month in the summer heat over at our house for 12 to 14 hours a day framing our house, and Wesley was over here. He was here all day long, his own tool belt on, never complaining, just all in, hammering and nailing things and handing his dad tools. He was truly living his dream alongside his dad, and it was the cutest thing in the world. So there's the foundation. I love this foundation. It is way too light for me though. Thankfully I was giving a very good bronzer, courtesy of Charlie. Hopefully that will help us out just a little bit. So concealer was also picked by Wesley, and he picked for me the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. Thank you, Wesley. I do love this concealer. This one is a little bit light for me as well, so I'm definitely going to have a bit of a pale complexion today. So for bronzer, Charlie picked out the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer for me, and I kind of figured that she would, because when a baby is picking out a bronzer amongst a bunch of black and silver packages, of course they're going to pick this one, right? I'm going to take that on this BH Cosmetics brush that came in a kit that I got from them before the holidays, and we're going to just start kind of warming up my complexion. I'm really going to kind of pull this in kind of far, like all the way into where my blush would go, and we'll put blush on top of it as well. Oh, speaking of the blush, guys, that's the one I'm almost more nervous about my blush pick than I was about the eyeshadow pick. I don't normally go this heavy-handed with my bronzer, but butter bronzer never has steered me wrong, ever. So let's avoid the blush for one more step and move into highlighter. For highlighter, Ethan picked out the Coty Airspun highlighter. I do love this highlighter. I'm just going to take that on my Luxie tapered highlighting brush. We're just going to pop that on my cheekbones, and then also on the tip of my nose. So for blush, Wesley really got me and picked out the e.l.f. HD liquid blush, which I think this thing has been discontinued for probably a long time. I've had this bottle for more than 4 years. I want to say 5 or 6 years. It's clearly dried out. You can see it's already cracked right there. It comes out as a cream more than a liquid like it used to. I absolutely should have thrown this blush away before I did this video. I can barely even get it to pump out. Okay, so there we are. This stuff is intensely pigmented, and that's one of the reasons this has gotten very little use from me, because as much as I love cream and liquid blushes, you guys probably know if you've been watching my recent videos how much I've been kind of on a cream and liquid blush phase lately. This one is way too pigmented. It's just so intense. So I'm going to take this on the back of my Luxie Duo Fiber powder brush, and then I'm actually going to just brush the majority of it off on the back of my hand just right next to there, just to get most of that pigment off, because I'm telling you guys, this stuff is way intense. Okay, that's not bad. Wes is going to be so disappointed. I know that he was hoping I'd come home with cheeks that looked just like this. So that's clearly a little bit too bright. I'm going to go in to my beauty sponge that has just a little bit of foundation left on it, and we're just going to kind of tap that over the top just to pull some of that pigment back a little bit, hopefully. All right, let's move on to eyebrows. My eyebrows were picked out by Ethan. He picked the Iconic London Sculpt and Boost Eyebrow Cushion. Now, I got this in BoxyCharm about a year ago. I really like this product. It's just very high maintenance, so I don't use it very often because it takes 5 times longer to use than a pencil does for me. Basically, this product, you get a little cushion here that has a dark and a less dark, they're both quite dark actually, cushion, and you use this little kind of like switchblade that has a brush on one end, a little spoolie on the other. It has kind of the consistency of a pen or a liquid. It's a little bit tricky to use, and it is a little bit dark. I kind of wish I had the lighter shade, but I think I even featured this in a favorites video one time because I really do like the way this gives me those actual brow looking hairs. So while I'm doing my brows, I realized I didn't really say anything about Charlie yet, which we all know how much we all love Charlie, right? She's the baby in the family, the only girl. I'm sure you can imagine that she is loved by not just me and my husband, but also her brothers. She is the light of our family for sure, and my boys would completely agree with that. They love their little sister. It is so much fun to have a girl, and I have to be honest, when I found out that I was having a girl, I was secretly kind of hoping that she would be a boy because I was in boy mode. I was very scared and intimidated. There are things that scare me still about, especially the future. Having a daughter as a teenager terrifies me, but I also can't imagine that Charlie will ever be anything other than perfect because she's just so wonderful and so much fun. But that said, you guys, Charlie is by far my busiest, most mischievous child. We have been to the hospital, the ER, we've been life flighted with her. She is my one that is into climbing onto things and getting into things and drawing on walls. And I mean, she is just such a busy, busy toddler. I wouldn't say that she's like naughty. I don't think that she understands what she's doing is wrong. She's just curious. She's curious and wants to explore and try new things all the time, and often finds herself getting into trouble because of it. Case in point with Charlie, this very weekend, just 2 days ago, Charlie was home taking a nap, and she had woken up from her nap without us knowing, wandered into my bathroom, found the hair cutting scissors, and cut off the left side of her hair. And when I say cut off the left side of her hair right here is gone. She completely chopped this whole section of hair off of her head. It was quite a traumatic experience by the time we figured out what had happened. I'm grateful it wasn't her finger. Fortunately, she left a little chunk of hair kind of right here that was not cut, so I can pull her hair back in a ponytail to cover up the bald spot. So she will be in a ponytail for the next at least 365 days before we can give her some sort of bob or something. But man, that is Charlie in a nutshell. She is into everything. And there may be some of you out there that are judging and saying, why are you leaving scissors out for your daughter? Knowing that this would probably happen and knowing the way that Charlie is, we have been very vigilant about keeping things, pencils and scissors and things, trying to keep them put away from her. But when you have 3 other kids that are all grown and think for themselves, it is virtually impossible to completely protect your child from everything. I know that was way too long of a story. Let's go ahead and move into the next step. I do want to finish off with the lower lash line. So we're going to dip back into the Laura Lee palette, and I'm going to take that teal color and just add a tiny bit of this on my lower lash line. I'm going to take that with my Luxie flat definer brush. This is just a flat kind of liner brush, and we're going to pop that just on the outer half of the lash line. So I'm just dipping a tiny bit into this darker purple right there, and we're just adding that right to this outer corner. Now I'm going to go back into my Real Techniques brush. I did kind of wipe this off, and we're just going to buff that out just a little bit. This is a step I can never do without making the stretch face. So moving on to mascara. Mascara was picked for me by Charlie, and she went with the Collab mascara, which you guys may know is a favorite of mine. I'm going to pop a couple of coats of this on, and I will be right back with you guys. Alright guys, so here are the finished eyes. I think they look fantastic. They are definitely colorful. Now let's go ahead and move into lips. Let's start off with the lip liner, and the one that Charlie picked was one of only 2 non-nude lip liners that I even have in my collection. This is an older one from Sally Beauty Supply. It's from the brand Boutique. I don't even know if they sell this brand there anymore, but it's kind of a currant wine sort of color. So I'm going to try and just very lightly line my lips with this. I'm just going to take my finger and kind of smudge that. Run this a little bit on the center of my lips just so that color will blend into the nude lipstick that I put on top of it. Now, thankfully Jace was clearly not super excited about doing this video, or at least being on camera selecting the things. So he was very nice and nonchalant about it and ended up just picking out a nude lipstick. He totally could have done some damage here by picking a red lipstick. The lipstick that he picked out is number 45 from the Rimmel Kate Moss collection. I don't know if they still sell this collection in stores, but this is actually one of my favorite colors from that nude collection. I had about 4 or 5 of these colors. It's just a soft, slightly cooler toned nude pink. I love the Rimmel lipstick formula. Like, not enough people talk about it anymore. So I want to say a couple of things about Jace. So he is my 16-year-old. He just turned 16 a couple of months ago. He just got his license a couple of weeks ago, actually. He is my athlete. He has always been into sports, and baseball specifically has always been his first and greatest love. He absolutely loves anything and everything about baseball. He's a sophomore in high school right now. He's currently playing basketball and baseball for the high school teams. Keeps him very busy, very stressed, and he is definitely my kid that is very type A personality, which is funny to see that start to combine with him being a teenager. I have to say, you guys, having a teenager has been a bit of a challenge. Mind you, he is a great kid. He's a good student. He works really hard, but I'm telling you, those teenage hormones are tough to deal with. And one more thing about Jace that I have to mention. I know he's going to be annoyed about this, but I can't not mention it. He's very, very tall. So Jace also picked out this lip gloss from Marc Jacobs. This is in the color Uproar. Alright guys, so I think that is everything. Let me zoom out and we will take a look at everything all together. Alright you guys, here is the finished look. I have to say, I'm very happy with how this turned out. I was way nervous when this started. It is more colorful than I typically go, but I feel like this is still very wearable. I have to say, I actually really like the color inside of here, especially combined with the teal and the Riviera palette. I think that's such a pretty color combination. Even with the purple on the outer corner, which I didn't love initially, I feel like it all came together in the end. Have to say, the Riviera palette definitely saved me with this eye look, especially this white. I am telling you guys, having a very pigmented white eyeshadow makes such a difference in making a colorful eye look just a little bit more wearable. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing a little bit more about my kids. I know it can be a little bit annoying when a mom starts talking about their kids, but they are and will always be, along with my husband, my first love, the light of my life. So I wanted to share a little bit of them with you guys today. But thank you all so much for stopping by. I hope that you were enjoying my full month of nothing new. We do still have a few more days left in January, so be sure to subscribe if you have not done that so you don't miss out on the rest of the month. That's all I have for you guys today though. Thank you guys again for stopping by. I hope that you have a great one, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye. Nice try, kiddos. You'll never get the best of me. They do want to do a my kids put on my makeup. Can you imagine what those boys would do to me? There would have to be some serious bribery behind that, and that's going to take me some time to think about that one.